Welcome to the 8th day of Pesach, and we start with a prayer, merging the heavens and the earth, which is key to really understanding Pesach. V'shemikud kudushabrihu ushehinte bi'ilo ilo layad shemuki beloke b'yidish Hashem kozrel kolam. Amen. So, here we are on the 8th day of Pesach, and we have covered a great deal about it, but there's one thing we haven't talked about. And perhaps it's the most important thing, is that Pesach is about the creation and coming together of Israel as a nation. It's about the 42 stops in the journey down to Bacoa. And it's about coming to the promised land. There's one more piece, which is to be a light to the nations. It's the completion of the Pesach of the past, the present, and actually into the future. It's the completion. So what does it mean to be a light to the nations? There's interesting, not so much a story, but an analogy, is that if we look at the moon and look carefully with a telescope, we'll see craters and holes and mountains and different, but it's not so pretty. It's not pretty. But the light of the moon is very powerful. And the light of the moon comes from the sun. And so we look to King Solomon's Song of Songs, or Songs of King Solomon, and that's the key analogy, the key metaphor, is that when we don't focus on ourselves as the moon, but see that we are a reflection of the divine, a reflection in this case in the analogy of the sun, reflecting the light, the moon becomes very, very beautiful. Because what we're seeing is the reflected light of the sun. And that is how, when enough people understand that they're the reflected light of Hashem, and the inner light of Hashem shining forth, and that way we begin to become a light to the nations. It's very beautiful, very poetic. Now the question is, how is it that we're able to reflect that light? How is it that we're to shine the light of the spark of God within us? And that's the final step of the work of Pesach. And with that, I'm going to share a little bit about the 6 foundations in sevenfold peace. The 13, the Jacob's ladder, the 13 steps in Jacob's ladder. So the very first is a message from Gan Eden, which is the teaching of a vegan live food diet. And that helps us, particularly in today's world, because we're going to say vegan live food, organic diet, protects our consciousness, protects our brain, protects our mind, which is a reflection of our brain function, and allows us to hold this with a functioning body and clarity of mind. We become a superconductor of the divine, and that way we shine. The second is the energy of the Ophanim, which is the name of God, the face of God coming through us as the tree of life. Other traditions, we can look at the yogic tradition, yoga asana, how we sit on the earth. Tai Chi qigong, different ways of expanding consciousness. That's 2. 3, service and charity. We often think about service and charity as a one-way thing, but it really isn't. It's a great story, and I believe it's a true story. It took place on a New York subway. And this guy is sitting there alone on the subway, and a person gets on, and he's obviously drunk, and he's wobbling, and he's moving towards him. The guy's thinking, well, I don't know. He comes up to him, and he says in his ear, Tzedakah. You know what that means? Tzedakah means charity. In Hebrew, right? Tzedakah. And the guy says, yeah, I know what it means. And he gives him some money. And the person begins to wobble away. He said, wait, stop. This is not complete. You owe me a blessing. The process of tzedakah involves a blessing coming back the other way. And the man is able to give a blessing, but something transforms. Not only do we have a heart-to-heart connection, but suddenly the drunken beggar is giving a blessing, and he himself is transformed in that. He is elevated, because he's actually really empowered, not just with money, but he's empowered. And they make the heart-to-heart connection. That's the mystery of Shirut. It's the mystery of service and charity. Okay? It's simple, but very, very important. The 4th is working with a awakened spiritual teacher, help you get in the refinements of the spiritual path, to learn about non-attachment, to understand the difference between the temporal reality and the cosmic reality, to develop qualities in us like moral clarity, which is a big issue in today's world. And the 5th is meditation and prayer, Bodhinut, repeating the name of God. They all open it up. And the 6th, if you're fortunate enough or lucky enough, is to work with, in Hebrew terms, a tzaddik who can awaken the Ruach HaKodesh within you. In Hebrew we call it Haniha. In good tradition we call it Shaktipat. Same thing. So that's the 6th. Now, in the 7-fold peace, which I write about, it talks about peace with the body. And of course, that's eating a diet that's optimizing for your health, protects your heart, protects your immune system, going to minimize osteoporosis by 4-fold, 13 times less kidney disease. It goes on and on and on. Peace with the body, that's again the organic, veganic, at least an 80% lifestyle. So we know those statistics. Second, peace with the mind, and we do that with meditation, and we do that with prayer. Third is peace with the family. When we're at peace with our family, our hearts are opened up in a different way. The 4th is peace with the community. Now today, things are a little wild in communities all over the world, and I'm going to use the word détente. In other words, in a situation like the United States where communities aren't really, the whole community of the United States isn't at peace, it's having a peaceful détente, a way of relating so you are in peace. That's a very important thing. And then peace with all cultures. That's what we call peace with the domain of rock people, peace with the plant people, peace with the animal people, and finally peace with the human people and all the cultures. Peace with culture. And then peace with the environment. Spiritual ecology is what I like to talk about it as. And finally, peace with God. When all those are in alignment, the 6 foundations and 7-fold peace, we then have empowered ourselves to reflect the light of God and be the expression of the light of God into the world. And when enough people can do that, which is the good news, it doesn't require a whole lot, okay? Some people say square root of 1%, some people say 1%, that's still not a whole lot. We are looking at then being a light to the nations. And in that way, transforming and uplifting all the nations. This is the real deep message of Pesach. That all this is for being a light to the nations. So may everyone be blessed that we do the work to transform ourselves so that grace can happen and we can be an actual, literal light to the nations. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Amen, amen, amen. Shabbat shalom.